3, 2, 1, go.
21.3 is officially underway, and keep an eye on the far right of your screen. That's where Spencer Panchik is, and he is admittedly a guy who likes to come out hot. Scott said he was probably going to come out hot, so don't be surprised if he is your early leader. There are 60 repetitions in every round, and then there's that mandatory 1-minute rest.
What I really like is the speed of Scott directly in the middle. He just came out really fast. He's like, okay, Spencer, you like to go fast? I can go fast too. And he's going rep for rep with his brother right now, actually edging him on that toes to bar. What I really like about Scott's toes to bar, if you notice, you probably don't notice it when you guys are watching it here, but when he's pulling his legs back, he's just not letting his legs drop back. He's whipping his legs back and pulling his legs forward, allowing him to kip right into that toes to bar, allowing him to edge his other brothers right now.
The 45 rep mark, that is when they will move back to the barbell for the thrusters. And then when they complete that, it's that 1-minute rest.
Like I said before, Scott, older brother going out, he's all, nope, my younger brothers aren't going to catch me. Now I'm curious to see how he attacks these thrusters, because you got to be fast and efficient on these thrusters. And what I mean about Scott, he's in the middle going right now. Look at how fast he's pushing it up, pulling that bar down into that squat. Just look at the cycle rate versus him and his brother right next to him. And I count all that cycle rate. I think that experience came directly from all the competitions. 8 games appearances, man.
Final couple reps now for Scott Panchik, and he is done. Looks like he came in at about 131. Spencer is done at 138, and now Saxon done at 139.
Right, like I said, that OG Scott Panchik came out. You're looking at the athlete in the middle. He came out blazing. Remember, everyone was saying Spencer always comes out hot, but Scott came out hot because he knows that experience, those open experiences, are really paying off for him right now.
Scott will be the first man to start the second part of this workout, the 15 front squats, then the 30 chest-to-bar pull-ups, and then 15 thrusters. He's going to get going about 2:31. Spencer will be right behind him 7 seconds later at 1:38. This is unofficial. Then Saxon about a second behind him. So the younger brothers essentially starting at the same time.
The biggest thing is Scott has to, well, all these athletes understand now they're racing their self, because they aren't going up against anyone else but their self. So when you get that separation, you're by yourself and you got to turn and burn. So he still has to maintain that fast speed, and he has to maintain that efficiency on that barbell. And especially when he gets to those gymnastics, he must go unbroken to keep that lead.
So Scott got 5 reps down to those 15 front squats before Spencer on the right of your screen and Saxon on the left got to their barbells. 75 reps, and then he's to the pull-up bar is Scott for 30 chest-to-bar pull-ups. 15-minute time cap here should not be a problem for any of these men.
Now Scott's back to the bar right now. He's doing his chest-to-bar pull-ups. I'm curious to see if he can go unbroken right now. He's going to maintain that lead. Spencer's right on his tails right now, hustle back to the bar, but Saxon's not far behind.
At 105, Scott goes back for the thrusters. He is leading his 2 brothers. Spencer and Saxon are neck and neck right now. The 2 of them started this round at essentially the same time. 1 second apart.
What I really like about Scott's butterfly pull-ups, look at the difference between his cycle speed versus his other brothers. Well, actually, Spencer's picking up his cycle speed. But if you look at his cycle speed, how his legs are turning over on that on those chest-to-bar pull-ups, really propelled him past his brothers.
Final 15 thrusters for Scott Panchik in this second round of 21.3.
So I want you guys to look at a difference. You see Scott in the middle, and then look at Spencer on the right. Spencer's pausing a little bit at the top. That's going to cost him seconds. If you look at Scott, he's pulling that barbell down. There's no change in speed. But if you look at Spencer on the right, he's pausing for a quick second, and that's adding time, which is causing his brother to create even more separation.
So Scott is in. He got done in about 4 minutes. Saxon just finished, call it 4:08, and then Spencer right behind him at 4:09.
So just like they said before, you know, Spencer went out hot. Now Saxon is starting to get his grip in this workout, and he's starting to push up. So he actually passed his brother right now, and he's chasing Scott. So I'm curious to see if he can try to catch Scott on this last round, because these bar muscle-ups, you guys don't understand how critical these bar muscle-ups are in this last part right here.
Scott Panchik will get going at 5 minutes even, and Spencer and Saxon still separated by just 1 second.
the biggest thing when I'm looking at, if I'm an athlete in the field and I'm competing right now, I'm looking at these other guys and I'm looking how hard are they breathing, because that's going to dictate real quick if they're going to blow up on this next round and what I need to do in order to maintain that lead if I was out there competing in that field.
Scott Panchik is underway with his third and final round. 15 front squats, 30 bar muscle-ups, 15 thrusters.
When you look at Scott, the front squats are irrelevant. It's going to come down to the bar muscle-ups. If you look, these guys just got to get through these front squats. Once they get to those bar muscle-ups, that's where you're going to really see technique is going to set them free, so I'm curious to see how they do. Also, if you notice something, notice right real quick, Spencer, he actually moved his hands in. He's an athlete on the right. He moved his hands in to save his arms, I believe, for the bar muscle-ups. And I want to see if that's going to pay off when he goes up against Saxon right now, when they go head-to-head on these bar muscle-ups.
Scott Panchik, the first man in the middle of the screen to get to his bar muscle-ups at 165 reps. It's back to the barbell. And remember, as soon as you are done with 21.3, your 7-minute window for 21.4 opens.
Man, look at Saxon right now. He's catching up. He's catching up on Scott. Scott's slowing down a little bit on that barbell. Saxon is starting to pick up his reps big time. So I'm curious to see if he can close it out and catch his brother.
Scott Panchik at 147 of the 160 reps. Saxon and Spencer starting to close the gap, but Scott continues to work. He's now at 150. So 15 remaining here and 15 thrusters for Scott Panchik. Now Spencer on the far right of your screen and Saxon on the left. They are back onto the bar and now closing the gap with their older brother.
What I really like about Scott's bar muscle up, look at his foot positioning when he's doing his kip. His feet are not flying up above his eyes. He's keeping his feet low. He's driving out with his hip, and he's getting the most power out of his hips to swing himself up and over that bar.
8 more for Scott Panchik. 165 is the number he's got to hit on those bar muscle ups, and then it's 15 final thrusters. He has been able to hold off both of his younger brothers. Spencer just got within 2 reps, and then he broke, and now Saxon back to work on the left side of your screen.
Look at Saxon's kip. When he's kipping, he kind of actually almost floats and has to reposition himself when he gets up on the bar versus Scott and Spencer. Scott's in the middle, Spencer's on the right. Just look at how they're kipping on these bar muscle-ups. And then Saxon, who's on the far left, look at how his kip is more of like a floating glide kip, whereas Scott and Spencer are more of a snapback kip.
Final rep now for Scott Panchik, and he'll move back to the barbell, and that one will count. So 15 thrusters between Scott Panchik and a victory over his brothers here in 21.3. Saxon and Spencer have 5 left on the bar muscle-ups.
I really like Scott's speed. He's maintaining that same speed that he had throughout all those thrusters right now. He's snapping up overhead, jumping out of that squat, punching it overhead, and he's pulling that bar right into him so he can create that speed and efficiency on those thrusters.
4 reps remaining for Scott Panchik as he looks to take 21.3, and then he will immediately begin 21.4. Scott Panchik's done. 7:57 will be his time. So add 7 minutes to that. 14:57 will be when he needs to be done with 21.4.
So one thing I would recommend, especially if you saw Spencer earlier, he kept looking over to see where his brother Saxon was. Anytime you're in a race, there's a reason why in horse races they put blinders on horses, because you don't want to see the other horse or be distracted. You want to stay focused on your lane and focus on what you're doing. When you stay focused, you're going to be able to turn and burn.
And after all that, just 2 seconds separate Spencer from Saxon. 8:26 for Spencer, 8:28 for Saxon.
Yeah, when I look at this, like I said, the OG came out, Scott Panchik. He knew exactly what he needed to do to get the victory. And he said, okay, this is going to be a hit-style workout, meaning that it's going to be done in 2 minutes or less. I have to get out and turn and burn in order for me to beat my brother. And I know that my brother Spencer likes to get out hot. And so Scott just turned on the boosters and just took the victory.
The times at the top of your screen will indicate when they need to be done with 21.4. So Scott needs to be done at 14:57. Spencer needs to finish by 15:26. And Saxon needs to be done by 15:28 as Scott is loading up his bar for the complex. And that looks like 185 pounds for Scott.
So he right now, guys, if you're watching Scott, what he's doing is he just has a warm-up weight that he wants to test the weight. He's letting his heart rate come back down a little bit, and he's testing the weight to see what he wants to open up with.
And this is where you got to be smart, because you got to base it off your weakness here.
Yeah, big time. If we look at it, like for instance, if I was approaching this workout and I was looking at it, okay, I have a pretty strong clean. Now, what is my weakness would be my jerk. So I'd base everything based off my jerk. Now, I do know some athletes are reversed. They have a strong jerk and a weaker clean. So sometimes you got to base it off whatever your weakness is to find a safe weight to lift. And then once you feel good and you get your starter lifts in, then you can go for those big numbers. So right now, what you guys are looking at right now is these athletes are just basically warming up. They're just doing 1 or 2 reps of each movement. Well, basically 1 rep just to get themselves primed for basically it looks like they're going to go for either 1 or 2 lifts total.
Saxon and Scott taking some warm-up work, I should say, is here are your results from 21.3. Scott Panchik, 7:57. And then Spencer and Saxon separated by just 2 seconds.
I mean, when I look at 21.3, Scott put up a good time, and I'm just curious to see some of the gymnastics specialists out there who are really good on that bar. And if anyone can go unbroken on those bar muscle ups, I think we're going to have a slightly faster time. I know he broke up on those muscle ups a little bit, but he still looked fast and efficient, and I mean, his time is still a good time.
Scott has the bar loaded at 275. The complex they need to complete without letting go of the bar is on the left of your screen.
So this is his first lift right here. He had nice turnover speed on that first catch. Good, nice popping catch right there. Now let's see this jerk. Boom, right there. Punched himself under. Great lift.
275 for Scott, and made that look like I make 95 pounds look.
Yeah, I mean, those are all those years.
I don't even make it look that good.
Those are all those years of experience that he has right there coming into play right now. And the guy, he's just gotten stronger over the years. And I'm really impressed with where he's at right now and what he's accomplished.
Scott is the first man to get a lift on the board. 275 his opening weight, and he still has about 3 minutes to go before he hits his time count.
What I was curious about, well, I think those guys might have felt this workout a little bit more because I was thinking that someone was going to get over 315 by now. But like I said, I haven't tried this workout, so I don't know how it feels. So I don't know what the effects are going to be when I try to hit that heavier barbell on a later note. So right here, Spencer is going to approach this barbell.
255. I can't see. Actually, you might have some 10s on there, so that might be 275 as well.
Yep, 275. Okay, right there. Got to get that hook rip.
Meanwhile, Saxon's on the left at 275 as well. Saxon will hit that. Now Spencer's got to hit the jerk. And that will count for Spencer. So 275 is the order of the day right now for the Panchik brothers. And here goes Scott again. Has added what looks to be 15 pounds of that. So 290 now unofficially for Scott.
The biggest thing is if you guys just watch Scott's movement, I want you to look at him in the catch. What I mean in the catch, when he was doing his clean, look at how solid he was in his catch. Now, when his brothers go, what I want you to see is how they catch the barbell in that front squat. They're a little bit not as solid in the catch, and that's affecting them as they come out of that squat. And so when they're coming out of that squat, they're getting a little bit pre-fatigued because they aren't setting that midline in that catch.
Coming up on about 1 minute to go for Scott here in 21.4. 290 is already good for him. Both Saxon and Spencer have a little more time. They have both hit 275.
Yeah, I think if you really want to compete with the big dogs on this workout, because this is one of those workouts, where you're going to get a creeper, one of those strong athletes who's in the back of the field, who's going to come out of nowhere, and he's just going to win this event with a big lift.
Saxon looks like he has loaded his bar to 295. Spencer on the right, adding more weight to his bar, and Scott in the middle of your screen.
So one thing I would have done right off the bat, if I was doing this, because Scott is barely putting the change plates on right now, I would have had the change plates on at the beginning. So right when I went to load my bar, the first thing I'm putting on are the change plates. Then I put my big plates after that because I never have to worry about those small plates after.
And 1 pound increments are the smallest increments that you can go in this workout.
And trust me, they make a difference. You hit a 292 versus a 290, that does make a difference and will move you up some slots.
This will be the last lift for Scott.
Solid foundation on that catch. Now look at his brother on the left. You see there's a little bit of a breakdown on his catch. Now on his second clean, same thing, speed and efficiency. A little shaky on the jerk, but still got it overhead.
But Panchik will hit that. We'll wait for the official count as Saxon, his younger brother, is still inside his 7-minute window at 295 unofficially.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I didn't think he was going to catch that lift, especially after that hang clean. He kind of, those elbows hit his knees. That's one thing you want to always avoid and stay away from. But, man, he muscled through that bar, and he just put it up overhead.
So 311 is what Scott Panchik hit as Spencer fails that lift.
So this is where I say you have to play your own ball game. I think he saw his brother over there, and then he tried to push himself to his brother, and he was already shaky after the first round. I would have probably did a smaller jump. I believe he added 5s and 2.5s. I would have probably did a smaller jump on that.
And that'll do it as Scott Panchik goes 2 for 2. So 311 pounds was his official lift on that final attempt. Spencer wasn't able to hit his final lift, so he will stick at 275, and Saxon was able to hit 295 pounds, and it was criminal how easy that man made it look.
I mean, all you got to do is look at the positioning on his lifts. I mean, he had a solid catch every single time.